Alright, welcome back. So let's talk blades, because that's what we're into. Today I got for you one of the ones that I really like. I think it's just one of the good ones. It's a huge knife, but really cool to have in the collection, at least in my opinion. This is the Cold Steel Frenzy. I bought this probably about 3 years back, and I like it. I think they could do better with the colors, because this is the only dark color that I could find. Well, at least dark color that doesn't look like a dark, funky color. I wouldn't get like a dark purple or red or something blue. This is gray and black. Mostly gray than black, but it is a layered G10, and it is machined so you can see the patterns of the layers. It's very nice. Big knife. It looks small. In the picture, you're probably thinking, it's not that big. No, here's my EDC for now, and this is a huge knife. So this knife is pretty big. It's kind of like the SOCP dagger, in my opinion, from Benchmade, because it's just huge. But I think this is even bigger than that. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it might be around about the same size, maybe. I don't know. But this is machine G10, layered machine G10. Really nice. The pocket clip. You have about that much hanging out of your pocket, sticking out. It's got a lanyard hole right there. And this is CTS XHP. This is carpenter steel. And if you can tell, it's got the triad lock. Huge. Look at that. If I go all the way down, I have that much reach. And that's over, I want to say over 6 inches of reach. That's just going off of that one first choil in the very back and going all the way to the bottom, which I still have room to go even further if I really, really wanted to. So you have a lot of reach with this thing. I want to say this is almost about a foot long. Lightweight. And apparently someone told me that this was supposed to resemble a Japanese blade. That's kind of like that swept forward sheep's foot kind of thing. But I think it has a little bit more of a curve, actually, because it's still curved forward. I really do like the fuller they put in. A lot of people call that the blood groove, and I think that's kind of a silly way to call it, but it's called a fuller. It's for weight reduction. Cold Steel, CTS XHP, Taiwan. I don't think there's any steel liners in there. I'm pretty sure it's just G10. Yeah, it looks like there's just G10 in there. All that pocket lint. Sorry about that pocket dust. I gotta be honest with you. Pretty long knife, but it's relatively decently thin, in my opinion, compared to a lot of Cold Steel's longer knives. They're a little bit thicker. This is thinner. So they've reduced just how, wide it is in the pocket. But it is pretty wide as far as, that way goes. Doesn't take up too much space in the pocket any more than this one does. Maybe just by a little bit, but still. Not a bad knife. I carried this for weeks. And it doesn't have any way of deployment other than these thumb studs right here, so you can't wave it out the pocket real quick, or you can't do any. You have to literally flick it open. It's hard to do that on camera, but it is a great knife. I really do like it, and it is very intimidating. You're holding this a certain way, it's gonna be pretty intimidating. And it is really sharp. I've never used this for any kind of cutting whatsoever. I cut open some DVDs with it. I cut open like the plastic sleeves off of DVDs with it. I think that's the only thing I've ever used this for. So I'm pretty sure it is still razor sharp. And no problem, we're going to cut some paper later so I can show you guys how sharp this is, because it is cold steel and it is sharp. If you're looking for this knife, the prices vary on it. I know when I bought this, I think it was 115. It was 115 or 120, but this was a few years back, so if you want to look it up, you can. I don't know what colors they have available on Amazon, but this isn't a cheap knife. Look to spend a little more than $100 if you're looking to get this knife. I'll go into specs for you guys. It comes in at 5.65 ounces, under 6 ounces. For a big knife, that's pretty decent. Let's look at the length overall. I can get it in frame. So from tip to handle, it is literally over a foot long. It is over a foot long, and that is just from the tip. So yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Well, maybe just a little bit different, but I want to say about 6-inch reach in the blade, you know, from the pivot anyways, but a 5.5-inch cutting length, so almost 6 inches. And of course, the handle itself is 7 inches from handle scale top to bottom. So yeah, it's a pretty big knife. Thickness, you're looking at 3.3 millimeters on the blade and 12.6 millimeters on the handle. It's a decent size knife. That's all I gotta say. It's a decent size. I don't think this is a good EDC. You pull this out and you're probably going to be considered a murderer, because this thing looks really, really murdery. But it is nice, though. It is really nice. Cold Steel's known for that. Their triad lock's really strong, and you can move this pocket clip just right or left. You can't. It's always going to be tip up. You can't really move it down here unless you get it custom made. But so yeah, I mean, if you're into big overbuilt knives, Cold Steel is your company, and this is a really good company in my opinion. That's the very first company I ever started really buying knives from, was Cold Steel. And I moved around a little bit. I went from Cold Steel to Benchmade, and then when I was tired of spending so much, I ended up going to Spyderco, and then I jumped from Spyderco to Kershaw, and then so on and so forth, other knife companies, CRKT and all the others. That's what I like, man. That's what I like. And the grip on this, I have to admit, it's got that, you can see that? So it's got that grip on there, and there's light jimping up here. So you can use it for slashing, obviously. And the grip, that's huge handle. So, here, let me just show you guys how strong, or not how strong, how sharp this is. Another rubber band for you today. Very little resistance on that. Very little. And here it is with some string. Some braided string from an old necklace. Cut that. It's just huge. Right through it, no problem. I just put a little bit of pressure and it cut through it like a hot knife through butter. And how about some paper? Some pepper. How about some pepper? So I'll go ahead and cut some pepper. Wow. Like I said, I've haven't used this for cutting on anything. And that's cold steel for you. It's just, it just cuts and cuts and cuts. And yeah, the tip is very tippy. I barely did anything, and that's, wow. So yeah, this is scary. If you're into that sort of thing, look it up. Cold Steel Frenzy, you can still find it. I think I found 2 colors. I think one was in like a blue, and the other one was in a red. It's going to look like this, just in a different color. CTS XHP, it's good steel. Pain in the butt to sharpen, at least through my experience. Who knows, maybe you're different. Alright? Thank you guys, I'll see you in the next one.